Good evening. I'm back for another stream and learning about how to build large language models. That's what we're doing tonight. Alright, let's look at a more sophisticated tokenization scheme based on the concept called byte pair encoding. Okay, byte pair encoding. The BPE tokenizer, okay, since implementing BPE can be relatively complicated, we will be using an existing open source Python open source library called Token. Logan. Yo, hey Logan. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Just a heads up, Logan, I'm going to lock in and really try to focus on the coding stuff tonight, so if that doesn't interest you, that's totally cool, man. I just want to give you a fair heads up that I'm going to lock in a little bit here. So, Token. So this is a Python library based on source code in Rust. What does that even mean? Okay, so let's copy this link real quick. And let's go actually take a look at this. Token is a fast BPE tokenizer for use with OpenAI models. So it's actually written in Rust, but it's a Python lib? Huh. That's kind of interesting. Python is such a weird language when it comes to performance related stuff. Okay, so we need to install this. So Shift Tab. Also apologize if my camera's a little dark. I'm going to see if I can add a little bit more light to my setup here. I'll be right back. Okay, I don't know if that's going to help at all, but now I feel like I just have a shadow. I need to get a key light or something. Or change the light bulb that's directly overhead. My camera is just a little too dark for my liking, but I don't know, it kind of fits the vibe, right? No, it's fine. I like to educate my fans on my ship, so I get it. Okay, cool, Logan. Yeah, I just, I'm going to lock in here a little bit and focus on the coding stuff, so I didn't want you to feel offended if you started to talk about ships in the chat and I just kind of ignored you, so that's the main thing. I just, I don't want to be a jerk. I mean, I'll still try to keep up with you, but I don't want it to distract from the stuffs. Okay, so we got to go back into my software projects and then build a large language model, and we need to actually activate no, what is it? Scripts activate? Yeah. Okay, then we need to pip install token. That's It's a nice play on words, whoever came up with that library name. All right. Let's go back to the book here. So we're learning about byte pair encoding. That's what we're learning about tonight. So the code we will use is based on tick token 0.7.0. You can use the following code to check the version you currently have installed. Once installed, we can instantiate the BPE tokenizer from tick token as follows. Tokenizer equals token.get encoding GPT-2. The usage of this tokenizer is similar to the simple tokenizer v2 we implemented previously via encode method. Okay, well, let's give it a shot, eh? I really need to get better at switching windows with Alt-Tab, because I waste a lot of time trying to find my windows. How are y'all doing tonight? Good? Everyone good? Had a good Sunday? Okay, let's call this tick token.py. Nope. Okay, let's see. A tokenizer. A tokenization example using the tick token lib. What's the code? I don't even remember what it was. Token, no. Import tick token and then this. Let's see, module import itself. Oh, because god dang it. That was not very smart of me. Let's see. Tick token example. Since I started working on this project, I've ran into all kinds of unable to import. Why is it unable to import? Import tick token. Okay, so that must be some sort of NeoVim config issue that I'm having. Okay. There we go. Look at us. We're in business. It's going good. I just find out my mom is calling me off of school tomorrow so I can have the phone tonight, so I'm happy. Oh, nice. Good for you, Logan. I'm glad, man. I'm glad. Oh, no, man. You should listen to your mom, though, you know? Moms are wise creatures. They know what they're talking about. Okay. And You are going to be streaming for a good amount of time, right? Probably about an hour, Logan. I usually stream for about an hour. That's about what I like to afford time for. If I get carried away, like if I get sucked into something that's a little bit more in depth, I might stream longer, but I'll probably make it as far as I can in this book, and then I'll probably find a stopping place at some point. Hello. Hold on, shouldn't that? Oh no, that's the wrong file. I was like, that's the wrong file. So this should print out the IDs and then the text. Nice. Although I'm missing some spaces, it looks like. But maybe that's just a copy and paste error. Oh, no, it's not. That's how he has it. Okay. We can make two noteworthy observations based on the token IDs. The decoded text... based on the token IDs and decoded text. First, the end of text token is assigned a relatively large token ID, namely 50256. In fact, the BPE tokenizer, which was used to train models such as GPT-2, GPT-3, and the original model used in ChatGPT, has a total vocabulary size of 50,000, which end of text being assigned the largest token ID. Yeah, Logan, have a good night, man. Talk to you later, dude. Second, the BPE tokenizer encodes and decodes unknown words, such as some unknown place, correctly. The BPE tokenizer can handle any unknown word. How does it achieve this without using the unknown tokens? The algorithm underlying BPE breaks down words that aren't in its predefined vocabulary into smaller sub-word units or even individual characters, enabling it to handle out-of-vocabulary words. Interesting. Should we ask Claude? We should ask Claude to write us a BPE algorithm. My God, how much it's difficult. What do you mean, Mohammed? Good to hear from you, Mohammed. Hope you're doing well, man. Let's see if Claude can write a byte pair encoding algorithm. Whoops. Can you write a byte pair encoding algorithm? I don't even know if any of this is right because I've never seen a byte pair encoding algorithm before. Is it using a library? Oh wow, yeah. So it starts at literally the character level. Okay. This image is pretty good right here. That kind of breaks it down. Muhammad, good man. How are you? I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying my Sunday night, hanging out, learning about large language models, you know? Let's see. Muhammad says 10 years ago, I converted from IT to business because these coding so difficult to understand. Yeah, I guess, Muhammad, the question is really just, I don't know. I think there's things in business that are really complex, you know? in IT. I think it just has to do with kind of what you're interested in, what you're willing to learn, you know? Sanjay. What's up, Sanjay? How are you, man? Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Or have had a good Sunday, I guess, because you're probably ahead of me. You're probably already into Monday now by now. Boston Sports Card says hi. Hey, Boston Sports Cards. Hope you're doing well, man. Just a fair heads up, Boston. I'm kind of locked in on the coding stuff tonight, so if I ignore some of your chat messages, I'll try not to. But if I do, that's why. I'm just trying to focus on what I'm doing right now. Let's see. Sanjay says long time no see. Yeah. I'm Matt, Java dev here. Hey Matt, how are you doing, man? That's actually something we've talked about doing on stream. Matt, is like a little bit of like Steven tries to learn Java, because I've never written any Java. I've written a lot of C#, so I'm hoping that I can pick up Java fairly easily. But yeah, we are welcoming of all the tech stacks over here. Although I may occasionally become frustrated with Python and complain about it from time to time. Oh, Mohammed, sorry. You asked, am I in IT? Steven, are you a programmer or engineer? So my title at work is officially a quality engineer. Yeah. So but I do write some code for a living. And then I like to build a lot of things in my free time. I'm Matt. I'm good. Thank you. What about you? I'm doing well, man. It's Sunday. Although, like, I'm very thankful I don't get the Sunday scaries anymore, because I enjoy my work and I enjoy the company I work for. So, yeah, I'm just chilling. Put the kids to bed. Got some good workouts in today. Hit the grocery store. It's been a good weekend. Nice content, by the way. I appreciate that. I'm Matt. That's really nice of you. I try to make some decent stuff, you know? I'm really just trying to make content around the things that I'm learning and the things that I'm doing. Not necessarily like as an expert, right? I'm not trying to portray myself as like a know-it-all, or like I know all things about all stuff. But when I learn something or I have something to share, I just kind of put it out there, and maybe somebody else enjoys it, you know? Boston says W, Steven. I appreciate you, Boston. All right. Let's see. Byte pair encoding. Okay, so the ability to break down unknown words into individual characters ensures that the tokenizer, and consequently the LLM is trained with it, can process any text, even if it contains words that were not present in its training data. So this is kind of interesting to understand. So, whoops. I'm going to have a lot of extra drawings here. So the simple tokenization we were doing earlier, we have a list of words. We have lots of words. And then we basically, through the tokenization, we end up with a vocabulary that is essentially a mapping of word to a number, like this. And then that allows us to map back and forth between the vocab, the token IDs, and the tokens themselves. The only problem with this simple tokenization approach, and I'm just kind of recapping this so that it's solidified in my mind. So the thing that's not good about this is if let's say you do the tokenization. If you try to decode a string of text and there's a word in there that isn't in your training data or isn't in that token, the original text, you can't decode it properly, or you can't decode it well or meaningfully. So by doing byte pair encoding, you basically build the vocab on the fly for the missing words, is basically what you're doing. So you build a vocab with the known words and the token IDs, but then on the fly, when it encounters an unknown character or an unknown token, it just basically maps additional IDs into your vocabulary. So that's what makes it more flexible. A detailed discussion and implementation of BPE is out of the scope of this book, but in short, it builds its vocabulary by iteratively merging frequent characters into subwords and frequent subwords into words. For example, BPE starts with adding all individual single characters to its vocabulary. In the next stage, it merges character combinations that frequently occur together into subwords. For example, D and E may be merged into the subword DE, which is common in many English words, like define, depend, made, hidden, merge. Okay, so that makes it a little bit more concrete too, because then it means, so it builds it dynamically, but it doesn't actually, you don't ever end up with a vocabulary that's literally like a bunch of individual characters, because these eventually get merged into a single thing. So this would be like individual characters, this would be subwords, or word units, and then eventually that gets transferred into an actual word. And it's all done based on frequency. Hey Hunter, how you doing? Muhammad says a smart. Hold on. Matt says I see. I'm thinking of make lives too, because I'm learning Ruby after 7 years with Java, so I'll try share my days with Ruby now. Yeah, man, I think that would be a great idea, man. I think you should. I honestly wish I would have started doing this much earlier. Like, I wish I would have started doing lives and making content when I first started learning to code, because I think it would be really cool, just selfishly, to be able to see like my growth over time. So maybe that would be cool for you to see with Ruby, right? Muhammad says, I mean, smart person like you. I don't know, man. I'm not like a super, like, I would never call myself like super smart, right? There's an Einstein quote. I shared this on stream the other day. There's an Einstein quote that says, it isn't that I'm so smart. It isn't that I'm so smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer. I think it's much more, for me, it's much more about work ethic and willingness to like stick with a problem than it is about like actual like intelligence, in my opinion. Hunter says, what's up? Hey Hunter, good to see you, man. Cookie Dog says, what are you studying? Cookie Dog, I'm studying how to build large language models, or I'm trying to understand the architecture of the large language models and the individual pieces that go into that architecture, and how you kind of wire them all together. Rudhara Neil Ray says, hey, what's up? How are you, Rudhara? I'm sorry if I'm butchering any of your usernames. I don't mean to do that. Muhammad says, wish Google will hire you soon, as you are smart and polite according to my test or prank I have done to you before. Okay, nice. Well, I appreciate that you think that I'm smart and polite. But honestly, I'm not really too interested in working for someone as big as Google. I like where I work now. I just want to keep learning and keep getting better, you know? And maybe if that takes me to Google someday, maybe, but that's definitely not my aim. Hunter, you too. Yeah. Yeah, it is good to see you, Hunter. Haven't been here in a while. Yep, it's been a minute. I haven't seen any of your comments on my videos or anything, but nice to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Okay, data sampling with a sliding window. The next step in creating the embeddings for the LLM is to generate... I lost my place. Is to generate the input target pairs. Sometimes some of these words. To generate the input target pairs required for training an LLM. What do these input target pairs look like? As we already learned, LLMs are pre-trained by predicting the next word in a text, as depicted in figure 2.12. Okay, so are these the input target pairs? This is the input target? Is that what he's trying to say? Let's implement a data loader that fetches the input target pairs in figure 2.12 from the training data set using a sliding window approach. To get started, we will tokenize the whole verdict short story using the BPE tokenizer. Okay, interesting. So we're going to load in the text. We're going to create a vocabulary just like we've been doing. And then we're going to create input target pairs from the training data using some sort of sliding window. Okay. Mohammed, really, you are a good person. Keep it up. Full of energy. I appreciate it, Mohammed. It's very nice of you. Let's see. Boston Sports Cards. Bye, everyone. I'm sorry, Steven, I have to go, but thanks for reading my comments. I'll be in one of your streams soon. All right, Boston, have a good night, man. Hope you have a good start to your week. Hunter, you've been working. Nice. Hunter, what do you do for work? Nikhil says, hey. Hey, Nikhil. How are you? Thanks for stopping to the chat this evening. Appreciate it, man. Hunter says, what? Hunter, I was asking what you do for work, because you said you've been working. So I'm just curious what you do for work. Oh, sorry, there was someone on TikTok. Oliver, if you're still there, I'm sorry I missed your comment. You said, what's up, bro? And I want to say, what's up, Oliver? And then you said, what game are you playing? I'm not playing any game right now. I'm actually working on doing some coding and some studying and then chatting with you guys. Hunter, construction. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Very cool. Any specific trade in construction that you're looking at or working at? Oh, God. Oh. God dang, I keep doing that. And also, if you're relatively new here, I'm pretty new to NeoVim, so if it looks like I'm stumbling around a lot, there's a reason for it. There we go. Not really, just roads and water. Been looking into game warden. Nice. That'd be a cool job. Game warden. That'd be a lot of fun job. Yeah, you're in Iowa, Hunter. I think I remember that. You telling me that before. Mohammed, can you solve problems using ChatGPT or any AI app to provide you with codes? Yeah, for sure. They can do. Yeah, I mean, they can do really, like, they can do really. They do a really good job, honestly. My favorite thing to do with them is to give them is to kind of use them for like blank slate problems, right? So let's say like I don't know, let's say you have an idea for something, or you have a particular problem, you're not really sure how to solve it, and so they're really good at just like kind of being like let's say what's a for instance, Mohammed, something like, hey, I have a date in JavaScript. I want to format it. Let's say something. I want to format it in terms let's say format it so that it displays like this, and then give it your, let's say 3/2/2025 9:08 p.m. something like that. Which there are built-in methods in JavaScript that will get you pretty close to this, but it's not exactly. And like even small problems like this, it will do a really good job of getting you there. And obviously you should test it, but and look, it even gave you kind of a new, a more modern approach using the date-time format API, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you can definitely use it for stuff. You just need to make sure you definitely want to test whatever it gives you, because sometimes it'll give you code that's like almost right but not quite there, which is why I think it's great for like blank slate problems where you know where you're at, you know where you want to go, but you're not really sure what's in between there, and you're not really sure how to start. This can kind of, an AI conversation with an LLM can kind of get you moving in the right direction, in my opinion. Let's see. Boston is my friend. We will go on live stream like this one to talk because for some reason. Okay, Logan, thanks for letting us know, buddy. Let's see. GHG. Why don't you use Linux as main OS? Windows is bloated. GHG, I'll come back to that. That's weird. None of you guys can comment. Huh. Yeah, that is weird. Let's see. Valid. Mohammed Saleh says, I see. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a million different ways to use LLMs, and there's all kinds of people have all kinds of different frameworks for prompting and what to do with it and how to use it. It's all just a game of putting the right tokens in to get the right tokens out. That's the game you're playing. When you're talking to an LLM, it might feel like there's more happening there. A lot of people like to imbue a lot of things onto the foundation models, but at the end of the day, it's just I'm playing a game where what are the input tokens I need to put in here to get the right output tokens I want out. Let's see. GHG, if you're still here, I'll address your comment. I don't use Linux just because I don't think I could use Linux for everything. Linux seems like a great great operating system for people who are writing code, or maybe a lot of the code that you write is deployed or hosted on Linux-based operating systems. And I have Linux-based stuff set up. So I have Linux set up on Ubuntu, on WSL. I also have a Linux server that I can SSH into, and do Linux things here. But the reason I haven't switched to Linux as a daily driver for my dev setup is I like the ability of having one machine to do all the things I want to do, including development, content creation, productivity, workflows, and so Windows is my choice at the moment. Maybe someday that'll change, but for right now, that's where I'm at. Let's see. Poor guy. Still want you. Poor guy. Nice, buddy. Let's see. Alejandro Morales. Why would you use Claude over ChatGPT? I use them all. Like, I just went to Claude because that was the first one that popped up. But I mean, if you look at I use ChatGPT. I've got tons of messages here. I've also experimented some. I haven't used it as much, but I also set up an account for DeepSeek. And so I've used DeepSeek a little bit. So I use them all. I kind of rotate around. I think my personal favorite at the moment is still Claude, but I go to ChatGPT. I probably have a more usage of ChatGPT because ChatGPT has the ability to generate images using DALL-E, which comes in handy pretty often when you're doing things like thumbnails and blog posts and things like that. The one I haven't done a lot with is Gemini. I haven't done much with Gemini. I don't use it that much. and I probably should use it more. And I know people have all this anecdotal opinions about like, oh, Claude's superior of this and ChatGPT superior on that, and I don't know. To me, they all feel very, very similar for the use cases I have. Mohammed, man, do you advise me to play cracked games or it's harmful? I don't know what you're talking about, Mohammed. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, buddy. Games that we can download by torrent. I mean, I probably wouldn't, Mohammed, but I'm pretty risk adverse dude. When it comes to digital internety things. Sanjay, hey bro, I had to go. Oh, no worries, Sanjay. Thanks for hanging out. Which do you mean you have to go or that you went and now you came back? I'm not sure which one you mean, Sanjay. But Mohammed, I'm pretty risk averse. I would not download things from the torrent from a torrent site and probably run them on my machine. Unless I guess I was really confident, but I'm not super confident. I'm just super skeptical. See, Logan and Hunter are having quite the chat, man. Okay, one of the most easiest and intuitive ways to create the input target pairs for the next word prediction task is to create two variables, x and y, where x contains the input tokens and y contains the target, which are the inputs shifted by 1. Okay. Yeah, so you're really just deriving. So you derive your vocab. And then you're also deriving your input target pairs from your training data. I guess the one thing you could do, Mohammed, thinking back to your question about target tech, or not target text, about torrent files you download, you could run it in like a virtualized environment, like set up like a little virtual machine and wall it off. That would probably limit your risk somewhat. Oops. Nice. Okay. It's working, man. We're working. We're following these directions. We're making stuff work. Muhammad, didn't get your answer. Please advise us. Is it harmful games as what we hear? I don't know if it's harmful. I just think it's risky. Sanjay Krishna. I went and came. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for coming back, Sanjay. I hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing good. This is I mean, it's pretty wild that this is the magic that makes ChatGPT seem alive to people. It's literally just let's see, context size. Oh god. That's the magic, see? So here's the input target pairs, right? So this is what you would the task that you would train the LLM to do. You'd say, given and, we want you to predict established. Given and established, predict himself, so on and so forth. And this is the auto-regressive nature of the LLMs because they build, right? It builds on itself. It's wild that simple mechanism or that simple task, right? All it's doing, it leads to the magic that you see in those models. It's pretty wild. Okay, there's only one more task before we can turn the tokens into embeddings. Implementing an efficient data loader that iterates over the input dataset and returns the inputs and targets as PyTorch tensors, which can be thought of as multi-dimensional arrays. In particular, we are interested in returning two tensors, an input tensor containing the text that the LLM sees, and a target tensor that includes the targets for the LLM to predict. So while the figure shows the tokens in string format for illustration purposes, the code implementation will operate on token IDs directly since the encode method of the BPE tokenizer performs both tokenization and conversion into token IDs as a single step. Yeah, so this is the part that I think fucks a lot of people up, is the tensor, right? Which really is just going to be, that's our embeddings that we're going to generate. And the embeddings are just multi-dimensional points in multi-dimensional space. For efficient data loader implementations, we will use PyTorch's built-in dataset and data loader classes. For additional information and guidance on installing PyTorch, see Section A Appendix. Okay. When did he install PyTorch? He never installed PyTorch. So I just need to go and figure it out. Muslims, am so doom. I can't understand what you're doing. Yeah, I'm not really doing much, Muslims. I'm just reading this book and walking through the code examples and just trying to understand it all. So I'm right there with you. Funny and insightful. Hello, fellow quality engineer. Sys auditor here. Hey, funny and insightful. Good to see you again, man. Thanks for coming back by, man. Appreciate it. How are things in the sys auditor world? Audited anybody recently? Oh man, okay, so there's a lot of code here. And a lot of it is building on a particular library. So some of it you just kind of have to wave your hands at. Otherwise, you're going to get too derailed trying to dig into things that aren't totally relevant to what we're trying to learn. Okay, so let's start by installing PyTorch. So how do we do that? That doesn't look like it covered that in the book. Oh, let's ask one of the AI models, huh? How do I install PyTorch? I'm guessing it's just like pip install PyTorch or something. Evan says, yo, isn't this live stream a bit late? It is for me, yeah, Evan. It's kind of later for me. But some days just go like that, man. Some days it's hard to find time to stream when the family's up, you know? When the kids are up and awake and the wife's up and awake and stuff. So sometimes it waits till the end of the evening, you know? But good to see you here, Evan. Thanks for stopping by. Funny and Insightful says, oh, we are a dying profession. You know that. Every other damn process is run by an LLM-based AI agent now. Well, that's what the tech bros would like you to believe, but it's just not true. Let's see. Pablo says, do not set up CUDA if you can avoid it for now. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to ignore that then. Okay, let's just go to PyTorch's website then, since Gemini doesn't feel confident. Let's see. Pip. So you're saying, Pablo, don't worry about PyTorch. So install, do not have a CUDA capable system, or do not require CUDA, then run the command that is presented to you. To install PyTorch via pip, and do have a CUDA system in the above selector, choose OS Windows, Pack, pip, and the CUDA version. Okay, so I'm kind of scared now, but I do kind of want to use CUDA because I do have a CUDA capable system. Why is this? I don't understand. Why is this so complicated to install PyTorch? Why is it not just as easy as like pip install? Okay, so let's just do CPU. Okay, we'll just do the CPU then. We'll follow Pablo's advice. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can use CUDA, but drivers are such a pain. Okay, I'm not even gonna fuck with it. You've scared me away from it, Pablo. Sanjay says, bye, bro. See you, Sanjay. Hope you're having a good day. I appreciate you, Pablo, looking out, man. That's nice of you. This is the first time I've done anything with PyTorch, so I appreciate you having my back there, man. I'm not looking to go down a rabbit hole at the moment. For CPU, you can pretty much pip install. Yeah, that's what it looked like. So now I just gotta wait. I tell you what, this is why the Python experience. I don't understand how so many people in the AI world love working in Python when the tooling and the packages experience and the performance is just not all that great. And like, it's funny because every time you enter any kind of world where performance is needed in Python, you almost always end up writing Python that interops into other languages. Which is just, I mean, I know other languages do that, you know. I know other languages have interop with, you know, packages that wrap others. But yeah, just Python seems to do that a lot. See, also that NVIDIA CUDA stuff is a bunch of gigabytes of data. Okay. Well, maybe I don't go that route until I actually have a real mjacker KU32 says the CUDA installation experience dead. Okay, well, here we go. We're not going to do that because I only have about 15 more minutes or so of streaming. I don't want to waste it doing that. Let's see, the API in PyTorch is very friendly for scientists. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? It's probably Brandon says Mojo low level Python. Okay, but isn't Brandon, isn't Mojo calling in, like, isn't that the interop to C++, or is Mojo something different? Huh. Oh, interesting. I've never even heard of this. Hmm. Yeah, I guess this is, I don't know. So Mojo was created for an easy transition from Python. The language syntax is similar. Oh, so this is a whole different language, is what you're saying, Brandon. So it's a language that is very similar to Python, but allows you to do, because it gets compiled, you can do more low-level stuff. Interesting. But it does compile to native binaries. Okay, I'm following now, Brandon. Very interesting. Then says then you will cry when your torch will be online using your CPU, like for face detection. Okay, fair enough. Well, hopefully we're not gonna do anything that crazy with it. Let's see. Very recent lang. Yeah, exactly. Okay, very cool. I appreciate that. You guys are being very helpful as kind of a Python noob, I would say. I mean, I know Python. I've written some packages in it, but I just don't use it that often. So I appreciate you guys. But I think what Pablo said, right, about the friendly API, right? It's just Python is a very friendly programming language to people who don't like. How do I want to say this? They're like people who write Python are like legit programmers and coders, but there's also a lot of users of Python who don't really give a shit about coding and programming, right? Like they're trying to crunch numbers or do data science or statistics or things like that. So that kind of, so it makes sense, right? Because it's just such a friendly language. Although the one thing I would say to that, guys, is, or girls, or should I just say chat? The one thing I would say to that chat is, Brandon says Python's great. It's the glue language. I mean, it's very true. Code programming, code GS programming. What is your primary language? I would have to say my primary language is C# for backend stuff, or TypeScript. I mostly do web dev stuff, right? So I'm typically working in C# for backend, and then TypeScript, HTML, Java, all the front end languages. But what I was gonna say is how you guys said, Python's really friendly and very. I feel like TypeScript is too. I mean, I don't know. I feel like TypeScript, JavaScript. I mean, I know JavaScript has some weird. I mean, it's not really. There's. It doesn't have great support for doing lots of complex number things, math things. But I don't know. I feel like I would love to see a world where more of the data science and AI community moved to TypeScript, which it seems like there's more and more packages. Like if you it seems like a lot of packages now, or a lot of libraries are offered in both Python and TypeScript. So maybe that's becoming more of a thing. Brandon says the interop is what enabled all the AI stuff. Brandon, TypeScript is my primary. Yeah, I really enjoy TypeScript, Brandon, too. I think it's the right blend of flexibility when you need it, but also strong static typing when you need it, and a great dev experience, right? You have great dev tools. Pablo says JS doesn't have a JS torch and num.js. Yeah, that's true. I know that, Pablo, aren't there though some libraries out there that are trying to plug that hole? Like aren't there some TypeScript or JavaScript libraries out there that are trying to fill those voids? I think I thought I heard I thought I heard on a podcast or a video, I heard Ryan Dahl talking about, who's Ryan Dahl, the guy who made Node and is making Dino. I thought I heard him talking about some newer libraries or libraries that are being worked on. There you go. Brandon just said it. TensorFlow.js. I think that's what I heard him reference. So maybe, I don't know. I guess I would personally love to see a world where that's more of a thing, which is kind of selfish of me, but I mean, I'm not opposed to working in Python. It's just not my favorite, right? And everyone's got their favorite, and that's fine. Yeah, I think Pablo, you make really good points about how Python enabled a lot of this stuff, right? Because it was people who had more like data sciencey statistics backgrounds, but they needed to do things in code. So it was like, it allowed those people to walk in that part of the world where they needed to, without necessarily having to have like a deep programming background or have to work with a programmer, right, to translate what they're wanting to do. Pablo, Web GPU, Wasm. Yeah, Wasm's pretty cool. Wasm is cool technology. You don't see a lot of people adopting it. The only real place I've used Wasm is in Blazor in the C# world. Brandon says you can also interrupt in Node. The sky's the limit. Yeah. Creative. Sorry, I missed your comment, man. Hi, new here. Good to see you, Creatives. Thanks for stopping in, man. We appreciate having you. Yeah, you guys rock, man. I appreciate you guys looking out for me here on my Python experience. Okay, so did we install it? I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's installed. So let's see if we can at least get maybe one of these snippets. Let's see. Okay, so let's add a new class here. What do we want to call it? Or I guess this is a module, not a class in Python. I should try to use the right vernacular. We want to make a new module, and we'll just call it GPT dataset v1. I know, very, very fantastic names here. GPT dataset v1.py. Okay, then we should be able to just copy this stuff. Because I'm not going to type all that out. Although I don't want all this text. Let's see. This is why copying things from a PDF are probably not ideal. I really probably should clone his repo of his examples. Okay. Let's see. Python, or Pablo says, ML is data science, statistics, and coding combined. Python is great as those three. I'm glad we are not using R. Yeah, I don't know any R. I've seen R, but I've not used any of it. But you're right. So you bring up a good point there again, Pablo, about how you kind of had these three intersecting disciplines, and Python was like the thing that helped all those disciplines cross. Aiden, I'm currently learning Python for a better career. Any wise words? Let's see. Aiden, thanks, man. mjacker KW32. If you're installing in your host computer, you should try using Python env module to prevent conflicts. I am. So I am working in a virtual environment. So that's kind of this purple part of my prompt here. Whenever I'm in a virtual Python environment, it actually will tell me by adding that to my prompt. So that way I know I'm not in the global space. Let's see. Have fun. Yeah, that's a good advice, Pablo. You'll be fine. Yeah, that's great advice, Pablo. Aiden, I would my one piece of advice, Aiden, is do some every day, right? You don't need to boil the ocean, right? So you don't need to try to learn Python in in a month, right? But I would encourage you to try to do a little bit of Python every day, right? Like 30 minutes or an hour, get your fingers on the keyboard, whatever it is you're working on, whatever curriculum you're following, chip away at it a little bit every day. I think your retention will be much better that way than trying to like study for 4 or 5 hours on one day a week or something like that. Junid, sorry if I mispronounced your name there, man. Junid, what are you working on? I'm actually, so these guys have been kind of giving me some advice on how to install PyTorch, but what I'm working through is I bought this book called Building Large Language Models, and we're learning about how LLMs are built, how they're put together, what their architecture looks like, and in the process of learning, we're kind of coding up our own small LLM architecture in the process. See, Pablo says also, if you don't know Python, you already know enough Python to start. That's interesting. So, Pablo, you say that why? Because I guess what you're saying is you don't need to know any more than that, right? I guess what you're saying. That's a funny way to put it, though. Okay, let's get the rest of this class here. Okay, so that's going to go on the constructor. So it's interesting. A lot of you guys, I'm surprised by that. A lot of you guys it sounds like a lot of you guys work with Python or have worked with Python, but your primary is TypeScript. So I find that interesting. Because I would kind of share that. That like I gravitate towards working in TypeScript over Python. I know that's not the case for everyone, but I just find that interesting that that's a pretty I don't know if that's a telling thing because it's not, obviously we're not talking about a representative sample of people here, but I do find that interesting. I think the reason TypeScript is kind of a winner, in my opinion, is because you get good dev experience. It's the language of the browser in a way, right? It gets transpiled to the language of the browser, and then it can also run on the server, right? So it's like if you know TypeScript, or if you learn JavaScript and then learn TypeScript, it's sort of this like really nice, pleasant language to build a lot of things with, and have a good time building with it. Okay, so hold on, I missed a bunch of your comments. I'm sorry. Let's see. Kadori, for LLMs, I don't think PyTorch is the way to go. Oh yeah, I don't even have an opinion there, Kadori. I don't know enough. But that's what this book is having me work through. And I believe the guy that wrote the book is pretty knowledgeable, so I'm going to trust him for now. Pablo, yeah, it feels English enough you can get through a tutorial or guide just fine. Yeah, that's a good point, Pablo, on the Python front, right? Pablo, totally. Yeah, I guess, but aren't most programming languages like that, where you need to know English to be able to learn programming? Let's see, Aiden. Yeah, I've been practicing every day for about 2 months, so I'm decent, but by no means experienced. Well, that's awesome, Aiden. Way to go, man. 2 months. That's awesome. Stick with it, dude. I was explaining this the other night to somebody. They were asking about programming, and I drew this little chart about kind of how I feel like learning programming is. It's kind of like you have this slow takeoff where it feels like, ah, man, I've been putting on a lot of effort, but it doesn't feel like I'm picking up much, and then it just kind of takes off. It's kind of has like, to me, it kind of has this J hook to it in terms of your like, you cross a boundary and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I have the confidence that I can pretty much solve and implement just about anything I want with enough time. So that's awesome, man. Congrats on sticking with it for 2 months. Pablo, I love TypeScript and I advocate hard on it, but I don't know if it's the first language I'd recommend learning. The types are so good, I can't live without them. Yeah, Pablo, that is the truth. The types are very good. My favorite type in Java or in TypeScript, especially as someone who writes a lot of C#, is my favorite part about TypeScript is the unions. I love the union system in TypeScript, and I really hope they're supposed to be bringing a union type of some kind to C# at some point. But yeah, that's the one part of TypeScript that I just absolutely love, is that it makes it very very convenient, or a very enjoyable experience to do kind of polymorphic stuff, but using unions, which I really like. Which makes like you can do a lot. You can do type narrowing really nicely, which I enjoy. Let's see, Pablo, or no, Aiden. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Everything feels so slow now, but I'm sure everything will click one day. Like all the concepts I learned will merge into a complete thought. Yeah, Aiden, that was my experience. Was like I started learning using Free Code Camp, and it took me a while to it took me it just felt, I guess what it felt like was I knew the syntax and I knew what to write. But when I looked at something, I thought, okay, how would I build that? Or how would I solve that? I was just kind of overwhelmed. And then at some point, I stopped being so overwhelmed by problems. And I felt like I had more confidence about how I can go about solving something or experiencing it. Pablo, yeah, Microsoft knows how to do their types. Yeah, I'll tell you who knows how to do their types, Pablo, is the guy who created C# and also helped create TypeScript, Anders. What is it? Anders Heilberg? Yeah, this guy. This guy, he's like a mad genius when it comes to types, right? I mean, he's the man. Like he was so interested in the TypeScript problem that he went over. He left the C# team to go work on TypeScript. There's actually, have you guys seen, do any of you guys watch Honeypot on YouTube? YouTube. This is a really awesome channel if you're like into tech and you're into programming, coding, just in general. They have all these really cool documentaries about different languages and technologies, and they made one this year on TypeScript. I'm pretty sure it's in here. I thought it was in here. Let's see. TypeScript. It's so good. They're all of them. The Node.js stock is really good. Let's see. TypeScript documentary. Yeah, right. I guess it was a different channel. Offers in Origins. Yeah, this was just so good. going through the history of TypeScript. Let's see. Jackers, how do you feel like jumping from C# to Java? Is it like big differences experience? I don't honestly know. I've not written any Java, but obviously people say C# is Microsoft's Java, as Pablo said. So I would guess it wouldn't be too difficult. I've never tried, but it's something we've talked about doing on stream, like maybe a series where Steven tries to learn Java. Master Samus, what browser is this? This is Edge. I like Edge because it has kind of first-class support for vertical tabs, and I very much prefer vertical tabs to horizontal tabs. Which is that's a weird thing for me to take a stand on, like why I would choose a browser, but that's why. Let's see, Aiden. Yeah, I've learned the syntax and such, but the problem solving and project scope is the actual challenge for me at least. Yeah, and I think that's a really great place to be, Aiden. I think that means that you're learning. I think it means that you're gaining skills. My one recommendation for you, Aiden, is to help with that, and you may not be asking for advice, but I'm going to share my own experience. The thing for me that helped is solving my own problem, but don't try to boil the ocean. Try to focus on a problem that's small enough to you that doesn't overwhelm you, but it's a problem that nobody has an explicit instruction set of how you should solve it. Right? And that's kind of that whole idea of like avoiding tutorial hell. If you can avoid tutorial hell, you'll be just fine. Pablo says Anders is God. He really is. Like I would love to have a career where I have had that many impactful contributions to a particular field. Like that's just, it's insane, right? The mark he has left on computers, on programming, it's pretty wild. Jacker says, now Edge is based Chromium. That is why. Yeah. I'm so glad Microsoft it's funny. There seems to be a wave of really smart people in Microsoft, right? Somebody's finally like, hey guys, Chromium won. We need to give up on our own browser engine and we should just use Chromium and make it uniquely our own. That was just such a wise decision. There's just so many, and that's why I think it's funny. So many people hate on Windows for development. Like there's a lot of people that really hate on Windows from a development experience. But if you guys are at all plugged into the Windows or Microsoft developer ecosystem, the developers that they have working for them are just there's some next level devs working for them. Just really, really incredible developers. People like David Fowler, people like Steve Sanderson. There's just some really, really incredible people who are doing some crazy things inside the organization. And a lot of it's just all open source. So I don't know. I don't know. I think Microsoft gets a little bit of a unfair bad rap these days. Granted, part of it's the history they have, but that's just my opinion. Aiden, how often do you stream? I'm interested in being in the community. Do you have a Discord server? I stream almost every day, Aiden, just about. Usually it's about an hour of talking to you guys, and then at some point I'll do an hour like this where I try to work on some coding related stuff and then end up just talking to you guys some more. And then I don't have a Discord server, but if you guys would be interested in one, I'd be happy to set one up. So, if there's anybody else here that wants to join a Discord server too, I'd be happy to put one together, Aiden. But yeah, you're part of the community, man. You're in it. You're here. So appreciate having you, Aiden. Jacker says +1. Nice. Pablo, +1. Steven won me over. I appreciate that, Pablo. That's very nice of you. Pablo says Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta are all great at software, awful at press. Yeah, isn't that the truth? And you know what, Pablo? What's funny about that is there's kind of an underlying truth there, isn't there? Where they'd have to be good at software and they'd have to have some really good engineers working for them, you know, in order to do all the things that they're doing. It just sucks that the builders aren't often the people that are leading or that are out in front, right? And that's one of the reasons I really have enjoyed getting plugged into the developer side of Microsoft, is because I think there's just a lot of good guys. There just seems to be a lot of good people in the dev division there. And companies need to do a better job at putting the builders and the makers out in front. Excuse me. Also, I know I haven't gone back to writing code, and the reason is because I'm over. I was only going to stream for an hour, and I'm already an hour 15. So I'm not really looking to get back into writing more code. I'm probably gonna wrap up here in a few minutes. But since you guys were all here hanging out, I didn't want to run away super quick. So I appreciate you guys all hanging out. Appreciate the conversation. Let me see. Yeah, it's 9:53. Yeah, so I'll go for another 7 minutes or so. I'll stop at 10. I'll stop at 10. Let's actually hold on. Let me actually right quit all. Hold on, what is PyCast? What's share? That must be something that came as a byproduct of installing all the I'm guessing I can probably ignore that, huh? And I can ignore that. Let's see. Paula says, "You're a great man. Love to see you progress through the book." I'm guessing it's a pip or vent. Yeah, it must be a pip. Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep making my way through it. I've been doing a little bit of this on stream. I've been working on some side projects on stream. I kind of bounce around to make sure I stick with things that are, interesting, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things that helps keep you from getting too burned out, is having some different projects to switch back and forth to, that are interesting and kind of keep you wanting to come back to the keyboard, especially if you work at it, especially if you work with computers as part of your day job. You don't want to show up and sit down at your keyboard and dread whatever the thing is you're going to work on in your free time. So I feel like having multiple projects that you're interested in help a lot there. All right. It's 9:56. I think that's close enough to. I think it's close enough to 10 to wrap up here, guys. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Like I said, I do try to stream every day. Usually it's about an hour at a time, maybe a couple hours at a time. So if you see me live, stop in. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you in a video or a short, or maybe a comment thread somewhere. So appreciate y'all. I will see you guys next time. Hope you have a good rest of your Sunday or Monday if you're already on the other side of the world. And I'll see you guys next time.